All right, let's jump into it. So I'm going to use a fresh account to show you guys everything today. I did not do the premium upgrade today, but most of the stuff I'm going to show you still works regardless if you go premium or not. The reason to use the premium upgrade is it does extend your video time past 5 minutes, which is probably the biggest piece. If you do love it and you choose to go premium, it's on the cheaper side, honestly, for programs. I think it's like maybe 40 for the entire year. And they do have school plans that if we want to push this out beyond this, I can talk with Ruben about. Cool. So first thing you want to do is you want to install the extension. As I was saying before we started the call, if you sign in to Chrome and you have your sync on, the extension should automatically be pushed out to you. If you don't, just simply Google Screencastify and it will show up there. You have to click some buttons to add and you're ready to go. So once we do that, and once this button shows up here, the arrow with the camera in it, that means that we're ready to go. So we're going to click on there, and I'm going to walk you through literally like the very first time that I've done it. So there are some setup steps. Number one is it's going to make you sign in with Google. The reason why you want to do this, well, A, you have to, but B, having this toggled means that your videos automatically get saved to your drive. The beauty of that is that you're not going to fill up your computer hard drive. And also, if there's a connection problem with the internet, they kind of store them locally. And then once you reconnect, they re-upload them. That just cuts out a ton of time in the process. I used to do this with QuickTime, where you'd have to record, and then you would have to save the video to your hard drive that you'd have to upload to Google. It took longer. So this is a real big piece. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign in with Google. It's going to take you through the normal, like, do you authorize this sort of fun? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Just needs access to kind of view and manage. All right. Then from there, it's going to say that it wants the following permissions. If you want to talk during your videos, you have to give it your camera and your microphone. We can go through when we actually open it. There are ways to kind of toggle these on and off, so you don't have to have them both on at the same time. And then you will want to have the drawing and annotation tools because that allows you to kind of draw on top of the screen as you record. So you go ahead and click next. You go ahead and hit allow because it needs some extra permissions. It'll pop up here. This is Chrome asking for permission. You go ahead and hit allow again. A lot of just extra security things to make sure that people can't take over your screen. And then they just want to know who you are. You're an educator, grade school. That's just like information for them to know. So that's kind of the intro, one time, first time you set it up sort of thing. From now on, after you've done that, you're just ready to go. So I'm going to go over here to my slideshow. And now we're going to click on the icon again. And now it opens up the actual window here. So you have different ways that you can record. You can record a browser tab, which means that literally when it records, it's only going to record this Google slide. It's not going to get the rest of what's on my screen. So it's kind of nice for if you want to narrow it down to what is there. You have the desktop, which is actually deceiving. They say desktop, but there's a few other features. So I'm actually going to hit record on that to show you. Because if you choose desktop and hit record, you have the option to record your whole screen or just an application. So if you did have something else open, you could record just an application. Or if I only ever wanted this window to show up and never wanted this window to be part of my recording, I could do that way too. I tend to use that one if I don't want to close down a bunch of tabs and other things, and I just want to guarantee it's only on my one window. If you do entire screen, heads up, it gets the entire screen, including notifications that pop in. So another thing to do is maybe do application window and just choose where your info is that you want to record. That way, if you get some Slack notification, update, whatever, it doesn't show up in your video. Nothing's worse than getting 3/4 of the way done and having to restart because somebody sent you a Slack notification. So I'm going to hit cancel on that.
Nobody sends Slack notifications.
Never. All right, and then we'll click it again. And of course, your last one is the webcam only, which literally acts just like a webcam. It will just record you. It will not record your screen. Realistically, these are the two I use. I don't think I've ever used webcam only, but if you wanted to, you could. So I talked about when we started, you have to give it some permissions. So the first thing is your microphone. You can click here and it will kind of pick up all of your microphones. Most of the time, it'll be just the internal built-in one. If you're using some sort of Bluetooth headset that has it, you can do that. Or if you have an external microphone like I do, you can do that. And this toggle turns it on and off. So right now, with this off, when I click record, it's not going to record any audio. Helpful for if you're in a place that has like a noisy background and you just want to make a quick sort of, here's how you do something video. But if you want to do any sort of narration over the top of it, definitely turn that on. The other piece that Screencastify kind of recommended, and I get it, especially in this time, is I don't like to personally be on the cameras that much, but kids do want to see our faces. So it wouldn't be a bad thing to embed your webcam. Just have to select it. And what that'll do is if you've ever seen those videos where someone's like narrating on top of their screen, but then they're down here in the corner, that will do that. So those are pretty much your two main options. You want to do some quick checks. If you look over here, how this is moving up and down. I can't tell you how many times I have started this and my microphone's been on mute, record the whole thing, go back to play to rewatch it to make sure it's all good and go, oh shoot, I have no audio. So learn from that mistake, please. And then, yeah, again, the webcam if you want. There are more options.
Ryan, quick, can you
Yes.
take the video and then import it? Say you didn't record. Could you take the video, import it into iMovie, and then do a voiceover?
You could.
Okay.
Yeah, you could totally do that. You can download these as MP4 and drop them into iMovie. Personally, though, I just always make sure I do this. That way, then I don't have to go to that because, again, that's more work. Part of the reason why I really grasped and kind of jumped into using Screencastify was just how fast it is to get things done. I mean, there's been videos I've probably sent people on this call that they didn't even realize took me like 3 minutes to make. Like literally your whole process to create the video and get it out is maybe 30 seconds longer than it takes for you to record the video versus some of those more advanced features. But yeah, Ruben, you could totally do that. You can download, do voiceover, add all sorts of stuff too. Any other questions so far? I probably should have stopped and asked, sorry.
Question, do you know offhand if the audio and the video are split? So as an example, if we put it into iMovie or GarageBand or something like that, could we make an edit to an audio so we don't have to re-record the whole thing?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it would be saved all as an MP4 file, and I think when you drop them into those, Kirk, that you can automatically kind of split that. They do have an editor in here too that I'll show you that you might be able to do some of that stuff in without having to go to iMovie or GarageBand to kind of make those dog barked in the background sort of edits.
Yeah, that was my worry, is if there's a 5-minute video or a 3-minute video, whatever the video is, and then there's one mess up that I would hate for the teachers to have to restart the entire thing.
Yeah, so we can go over that. That's another reason to do the premium upgrade that they're offering right now, because that gives you full access to their video editor. I might have to switch over to my work account to show that instead of the demo one. Mm-hmm. But remind me when we get to afterwards and I can show you that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So show more options. The countdown, 3 seconds. I like this just because it gives you a countdown before it actually starts recording. Nothing's worse than those 5 seconds of dead air when you don't know that it's recording. And they go, oh shoot, it's recording. So this will literally, we'll see in a moment, pop up on the screen, 3, 2, 1, and then you'll go live with recording. And then the drawing tools is something that if you wanted to annotate over the top and record your annotations, you want to have turned on. Tab audio is if you're going to show like a YouTube video or something, turn that on, because what that means is it will record the audio, from the tab as well as your microphone. So most of the time I don't use this because I'm not usually recording. I'm not usually making a video of a video. But if you wanted to, you got to turn that on in order to hear the audio. If not, they will see the video playing, but won't hear any of the audio unless your speakers maybe are super loud or something. So yeah, let's actually get into recording. So we're going to record the browser tab, which means we're only going to record this one. I have my microphone turned on. I'm going to embed a webcam. 3-second countdown. Got my drawing tools on. Ready, set, record. The first thing you're going to see, webcam right here, 3, 2, 1. And then this little red dot up here means that we're recording. So everything that I'm doing on this screen is now there. You'll see down the corner, I have my webcam. I can kind of move myself around too if I need to get out of my own way. So like if you have something in this corner, you can click and drag. The drawing tools wise, this one is going to be your mouse pointer. I like to do the highlight clicks. So what that means is when I click, I don't know if it's going to do it on the recorder one. Yeah. See a little red circle that's popping up? That's going to show people where you're clicking. Kind of goes by default. If you wanted to turn it off, you could. Most of the time, though, I say leave it on just because, you know, you clicked sometimes so fast and someone doesn't see where you clicked, but at least they can rewind and see where that little red circle is. Next, we have the pen tool, which is literally like it sounds. It's pen. I can write over the top of something if you wanted to do maybe in math, you know, a little bit of drawing, or you're annotating something, you could draw boxes, whatever you want to do. You can change the color with this slider, so you could have multiple colors, whatever you need. Since we have a pen, we need an eraser. So we have this part here, which is literally just an eraser, just like you would have on a whiteboard, or for those of us that were old enough to teach with a chalkboard. And yes, before someone says I wasn't, my very first classroom had a chalkboard in it. I'm not that old though. And next to the eraser, we also have here the wipe screen, which if I press that one, completely clears my screen. If you're going to record slides, something to know is that your annotations and your drawings do not erase when you switch slides. So before you switch slides, you want to come down here and press wipe screen. You'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner too, how when I hover over stuff, it's saying like option P, option M, option E. Those are your keyboard shortcuts to activate these things. So I'll press option P and it's going to switch to the pen, M for that. Play around with them if you want to get really good at recording and you know, make sure that they're very seamless. Definitely learn the keyboard shortcuts. Of course, then our last one here is just the embed webcam. Like I said, for our situation right now, I'd leave it on. It's nice for kids to see you. And if you wanted to hide the drawing tools, you can click here to hide the tools. Just kind of makes them go away. You can press option T to bring them back up. Any questions on like recording the video right now before we move on to the next part, which is what to do afterwards? Okay. So now that we've done this, we're going to go ahead and click up here. And it's going to open up. It's going to tell you your tab is being recorded. And I have some options here. I have the trash can, which means I can delete this video. And once you delete it, it goes away forever. I have this button, which is your best friend. So when you make a mistake really early on and you just want to kind of start over, you just press that and it will start the recording over again. You do lose your previous recording. So just know that, hey, it's going to be gone forever. But I know I've done videos and literally within like 5 seconds in, said the wrong thing or lost my train of thought. So you can just use this one. This pause button literally does what it says. It pauses the recording. So that's helpful. Like if you wanted to switch to another tab, or maybe you want to type some stuff before going back, you could do that too. And then of course we have the end button. When you press the end button, it's going to open up another screen and it's going to introduce you to the video page. You see up here in the corner, this is automatically being saved to Google Drive as we speak. So again, that whole process of create the video, drop it onto your desktop, drag it onto Google Drive, it all happens in the background. You have your share screens over here. So if I click on this one, it will copy and give me a shareable link that I could send to my students. I don't have this connected to Classroom or YouTube, but from here, you could also click this button, send the video directly to Google Classroom, or you could click this button and directly send it to YouTube. You can use an embed code if you're going to put it on a website, all sorts of easy sharing options for you. And then of course we have our downloading options. If you're going to download it, export it as an MP4, the default format that it comes into doesn't work in things like iMovie and such, but an MP4 will. You can also export audio, export it as a GIF. I've done that for like little mini tutorials that I want. Very, very simple to do that way. Any questions so far? You guys still there? You're being awfully quiet.
I think what you're saying. You're explaining it really well. So I mean, I'm getting mostly everything. I'm sure once I actually start playing around with it, I'm going to bother you like I always do.
Just tell me that I'm that great at explaining it. It's fine.
You are that great at explaining it.
One thing to note on these ones, share to classroom should be pretty easy because it should be linked to your account. If you do publish to YouTube, there are a few more steps. Like you have to add your YouTube channel, and your videos do default to private. So if you are going to share this with your students, you can make it public, which literally means anyone can find it, or you can do unlisted, which means that you have to have the specific URL. If you're going to share anything that contains possible confidential information or private information or student faces, please don't put it on YouTube. That would be where you just use the Google Drive shareable link. And you can do some stuff here too, just like your normal sharing options. It defaults to unlisted. So once you send it, they could find it. And if you were to click here, it will actually navigate to your drive and find the video for you. Okay. So you have the basic editor here. Oh, I should say this too. Sorry. This box up here, it's going to default to whatever your tab is called. So this is where you can rename your video just by clicking in it and then typing name. You can do some basic trimming in here. So like, you know, if I started a few seconds late, I can kind of drag the scissors and trim. This is not where you're going to do a ton of editing. This is more for just kind of getting the front end and tail end of it. If you do want to get into more editing, I'm going to see if it's going to work in here. Actually, I don't know because I might try to tell me I have to have premium. Sure. You won't have to do the free trial because you will get the promo code in order to get that. So Kirk, this was your question about, you know, the dog barks or something. This is where you can click on the blue button to add a clip from your drive. You can also upload things from your computer. Let me find the video. I can drop it in here. And now I can do a little bit more of that kind of finer editing to it. So, you know, dog bark, kids making noise, stuff like that. You got the scissors here where you can do some liquid cuts.
Yep, we're good. Yep.
Yeah, you can do that sort of stuff. You can insert some text, all sorts of stuff here. You can crop the video. So like maybe it's like, oh, actually, I don't want to be in it. I can crop it. Just know that if you crop it, that literally cuts out the whole bottom of the video though. So
is that for the rest of the video?
Yeah, it goes for the whole thing.
Perfect.
So that's why I'm like, I tend not to use the crop as much. Sometimes I will use it like when I used to do things in Illuminate and there's just, man, you know, there's all this stuff that I can't get around. I'll record it, but then I'll use the crop to be like, you know what? This is the only part I need you to see right here. You don't need to see all the student names over here. You don't need to see all that information.
Yeah.
But for most of, I think what we're going to do, we probably aren't going to be using it, but it's there. Yeah, you can add some text if you wanted to. You got a few little options here. So if you want to kind of narrate something and put instructions over it, it is there too. Yeah, that's the editor. Very basic. So if you do want to go more advanced, you definitely should go into iMovie. But honestly, one of the biggest pieces I learned, for those of you who don't know, I actually taught my last year at Monsignor primarily by video. And I killed myself the first semester trying to make everything perfect. And then I realized it doesn't matter if I cough in the middle of a video, a kid's still going to pay attention to it. So, you know, it's kind of that idea of, hey, you know what, done is better than perfect. Obviously, if there's a big glaring issue, you completely say something wrong or something happens, you know, either re-record it or still recording on this. I don't know. Either re-record it or possibly edit it out. But, you know, if you stumble over a word or something, just keep going. It kind of also shows the kids that, you know, you're human, you do it. So when they do it, it's going to happen. Cool. So that's pretty much Screencastify. Like I said, pretty straightforward. Pretty easy to use. And one of the pieces I love about it too is that, you know, there are other things out there. There's one I saw recently that looked really cool, but my problem with them is that it uploads your videos to their server. So that means that when you decide to delete your account, you lose access to your stuff, or they have some sort of breach. People have access to your stuff. This stuff is never uploaded to Screencastify. It all stays locally on your computer or in your Google Drive. So as long as somebody doesn't get into your computer or get into your Google Drive, you're safe. And when you start doing video on some of our laptops, you are going to eat up a ton of hard drive space. So another reason to go Google Drive, you have unlimited, which is actually false. I did look it up one time. I didn't recognize the prefix, though. That was on the bytes. That's how big it is. Any questions? Anything else that you're curious about, want to know? I know we said we kind of keep this to half an hour, and we're getting close to that point.
Ryan, I noticed when I signed up that it said that the trial, the unlimited trial, is up to April 30th. So I think that's one of the limitations right now.
They're doing up to April 30th, but then they're going to look at it again and see if they need to extend it. A lot of the companies are like giving a date, but then they're being flexible with them. But Daniel, even then, if after April 30th, you can still record under 5-minute videos and use everything in here.
Yeah.
Your big pieces that get added with the premium option are longer videos and the editor.
Yeah.
So I used it for a good month before I paid for it, and I was like super happy with the free version. But at the time, some of these download options were premium only, so I went premium.
Yeah, I've definitely used it several times to make videos. It works very well, I think. And I like the fact that it's fast to share out the links. I know one of the frustrations with doing like a QuickTime video is the amount of time it takes to upload, because you can't share a link until it's uploaded.
Yeah.
In Google.
One of my other frustrations that, and I used to do this all the time when I taught with video, and this is one thing that I love about it, is this easy just it's not recording right now, but the restart button. I had so many videos on my desktop after I would record it of like 3-second little snippets. I think Ruben might be the only one to get this. When I would record at the Berendo building, I'd start recording, and then 2 seconds in, all of a sudden their announcements would come in. Yeah. Of course, like without fail. So it would just ruin the video. So the fact that you can just easily kind of restart it and not have to have a bunch of, files on your computer that you got to clear out later is awesome too. And like you mentioned, dude, the sharing, just so fast, so easy.
Yeah, I think for folks who are kind of pressing time to get something done, it's valuable there too.
Yeah. One other thing I forgot to show. So if I click here and like I need to get to my recordings, if you click on this little guy, it will take you to I only have one here, but it would show you all your videos. So you could find them in your Google Drive, but this also kind of puts a nice little grid view so you can quickly find it. So if you're like, oh man, where was that video I made a few months ago? It kind of gives you a quick way to find it. Any other questions? Cool. So that's Screencastify. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to end the recording, and then I'll hang on if you guys have any questions. So if you're watching this and you have any questions, send me a Slack message.
Sounds good.